Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. It is finally Friday, and we begin this morning with a large structure fire that appeared to break out inside a trailer home. Take a look at this video sent to our newsroom. The fire broke out just after 12:30 this morning at the Durancho Y Mobile Via Mobile Home Park on Weibel Road. Video shows firefighters desperately trying to put out flames as they engulf the trailer. We're still waiting to hear from fire department on how exactly this blaze started or whether anyone was hurt.
5:03, and in Washington, security is high around the Capitol a day before a planned far-right rally. While the rally isn't expected to be very large by Washington standards, officials say after the January 6th insurrection attempt, they can't take any chances. NBC's Chris Pallone is on Capitol Hill with the latest.
Alex, good morning. This protest is taking place to support people arrested for storming the Capitol back in January. Most security experts don't expect it to be that big, but after January 6th, they're not taking any chances. In Washington, security fences once again encircled the U.S. Capitol building and the Supreme Court. The city bracing for a rally in support of people arrested during the January 6th Capitol riot.
They're going to come Saturday again. They have their plans to come. Everybody will be ready, more ready for them.
A former Trump campaign official has organized the rally he's calling Justice for J6.
People have not engaged.
Matt Brainerd says the event is to support nonviolent offenders charged in the January 6th riot, people he calls political prisoners. He says it will be 100% peaceful. Others aren't so sure.
Well, I'm pretty confident we won't see a repeat of occupying the Capitol. I'm not confident we won't see violence. I am confident that law enforcement is more prepared.
Members of Congress are being asked not to go to the Capitol Saturday, and it's all hands on deck for the Capitol and Washington, D.C. police forces. Online chatter about the protest suggests a small turnout.
You know, every social media post and extremist forum post that I've seen that I've been watching the last couple of weeks has all said stay far away from this event. Proud Boys have told their people don't come. QAnon has told their people don't come. All the extremist forums that cheered on the January 6th Capitol attack seem to believe that this event is like a false flag or a honeypot.
If all goes well, Capitol officials say the fences will come down soon after the rally ends. Similar protests are planned for at least a dozen states across the country over the next few weekends. In Washington, Chris Pallone, 17 News.
A new book by journalist Bob Woodward and veteran Washington Post reporter Robert Costa includes an alleged expletive-laced outburst by former President Donald Trump toward Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy. The book details Trump's alleged frustration with McCarthy, who initially blamed the president for instigating the January 6th insurrection. It says in the book, quote, "This guy called me every single day, pretended to be my best friend, and then he expletive me. He's not a good guy," Trump said, according to book excerpts published by CNN on Tuesday. While the relationship between the two was seemingly patched up in the following months after January 6th, the book says Trump dismissed McCarthy's attempts to get back into his good graces. Quote, "Kevin came down to kiss my expletive and wants my help to win the House back," Trump said, according to the authors. Neither Trump nor McCarthy have verified whether the comments were actually made, and neither have commented on this part of the book. The book, titled Peril, comes out next Tuesday.
In your 17 Crime Watch this morning, the acting United States Attorney announced yesterday the culmination of a years-long gang investigation across our state. The joint operation between the FBI, DEA, and local law enforcement agencies resulted in dozens of gang arrests.
Without this cooperation and coordination, the investigation that led to today's announcement could not have occurred. We will continue to work with our law enforcement partners to make it truer than ever that crime does not pay and violent crime has no place in our neighborhoods.
Acting U.S. Attorney Stephanie M. Hines says as a result of what the involved agencies dubbed Operation Quiet Storm, leaders of the Nuestra Familia prison gang, San Jose Grande, and El Hoya Palma street gangs were arrested on charges ranging from drug trafficking to murder. The arrests occurred up and down the state, from Humboldt to right here in Kern County.
A man was hospitalized after being shot early yesterday morning in southeast Bakersfield. Officers were called out just before 2:30 a.m. to Ohio Drive near East Frontage Lane. That's where they found the victim, who police say is stable. Police ask anyone with information about the shooting to call them at 327-7111.
Meantime, officials confirmed yesterday that a man has been arrested on a charge of murder after another man's body was found in Lamont. The sheriff's office says 38-year-old Octavio Gonzalez was arrested Wednesday night for alleged involvement in the death of a man whose body was found near Habaker and Panama roads. Sheriff's investigators have not provided many details on the case. We're waiting on the name of the victim and the cause of death, which will be released later by the coroner's office. By our count, this marks the 99th homicide in Kern County so far this year.
Your time now is 5:08. A memorial service will be held today for California Highway Patrol Officer Scott Merritt, who died last week from COVID-19 complications at the age of 42. Today's service will take place at 11 a.m. at Valley Baptist Church on Fruitvale Avenue. Doors open at 10 a.m. The service will be open to the public, and local COVID-19 protocols will be followed. The service will also be live streamed through a link on CHP's homepage. Merritt was a 16-year CHP veteran. He's survived by his wife and 2 children. A trust fund has been established to help Merritt's family. For information on how to make a donation, you can visit kget.com.
Last night, a rousing welcome home for nearly 100 veterans on the latest honor flight, Kern County. The football stadium at North High School was packed with people of all ages holding flags and signs welcoming home our local heroes. 4 World War II veterans, 14 Korean War vets, and 81 Vietnam veterans spent the last couple of days touring the monuments built in their honor in our nation's capital. This is the first local honor flight in nearly 2 years since the pandemic put the program on hold. In all, 178 veterans, guardians, and team leaders landed at Meadows Field Airport last night and were bused to North High for the welcome home party. We'll have more on the celebration today on 17 News at 5.
What a crowd.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so glad they got such a great welcome.
It is. I mean, we've said this before. It is a whirlwind trip for them.
Oh my gosh.
It is
nonstop.
I mean, nonstop.
Yeah.
And this was a chartered flight for our honor flight. Kern County group. It was Honor Flight 42.
Recapping our top stories this Friday. A large structure fire broke out inside a trailer home early this morning. It happened just after 12:30 at the Durancho Y Mobile Home Park on Weibel Road. We're still waiting to hear from the fire department how the fire started or if anyone was hurt in the blaze. A memorial service will be held today for California Highway Patrol Officer Scott Merritt, who died last week from COVID-19 complications at the age of 42. Today's service will take place at 11 a.m. at Valley Baptist Church. Doors open at 10 a.m. The service will be open to the public. Nearly 100 veterans aboard the latest honor flight returned home last night. The football stadium at North High School was packed with people of all ages holding flags and signs welcoming home our local heroes. The trip marked the first local honor flight in nearly 2 years.
Just hours before the FDA Advisory Committee is set to vote on the future of boosters, members of the agency are voicing both support and opposition over a 3rd dose of Pfizer's vaccine. The stage now set for controversial decision. With volumes of vaccine data now public, a new study in the New England Journal of Medicine did find effectiveness of a booster dose. But other scientists writing in the Lancet say current evidence does not, therefore, appear to show a need for boosting in the general population.
It's normal for scientists to not necessarily have consensus around a specific issue. The problem is we're in a very toxic environment now because of all of the aggression coming from anti-vaccine groups, and they use any kind of difference in opinion as a wedge issue.
Pfizer says their data shows booster shots are needed 6 months after the 2nd dose as protection from infection begins to wane. But its vaccine continues to be highly effective in preventing hospitalization and serious illness, its most critical function. The FDA Advisory Committee will be asked to vote today on whether a booster dose is necessary to improve protection levels.
We won't know the true impact of this 3rd surge for a while as public health officials slowly release data on those who've died from the virus. But yesterday we learned of another 4 lives lost to COVID-19. All of those people died in August. We still have not learned of any deaths from this month. 1,514 lives have been lost to the virus since the beginning of the pandemic. Meantime, another 510 people tested positive. More than 5,600 people have tested positive this month alone. The good news, the average number of people getting sick each day is declining. However, the state data shows that 335 people are in the hospital with COVID-19, another 73 in the ICU.
Today could be one of the worst days for our hospitals. State models project more people will be in a local hospital today for COVID-19 than any other day in this third surge. Hundreds are in the hospital right now with the virus. Dozens more are fighting for their lives in the ICU. Although the peak isn't as bad as what we experienced after Christmas and New Year's, hospital resources are stretched thin and nurses are mentally exhausted. I spoke with 2 nurses at Kern Medical yesterday. They say although the projected peak may be today, there's still a long way to go before the dire situation improves.
We're seeing this surge of all these COVID patients, and it's deadly.
And the surge doesn't just go away once you peak. Some of these patients we keep greater than 30 days, 40 days, they stay months on a ventilator.
For the average Joe on the street, they don't see that surge. It doesn't affect their daily lives.
We're seeing young people, healthy people, young moms die from this. Nobody's immune.
And you just heard some patients can spend weeks, even months in the hospital after they're admitted. That means deaths will most likely increase in the coming days and weeks, just like it did during the last 2 surges. Therefore, it could take weeks, even longer, for public health to release data on those deaths. At this point, we're still learning about people who lost their lives to COVID-19 in mid to late August. Public health has not provided information on people who died this month, meaning our death toll is most likely significantly higher than what's being reported.
Public health officials and hospital administrators have framed the debate over COVID-19 vaccinations with certain sets of numbers, primarily the percentage of unvaccinated patients, hospitalization rates, and available ICU beds. Now, as the third COVID-19 surge continues to ravage Kern County, with 510 new cases confirmed just yesterday, we're hearing a new, most unwelcome metric coming into play. 17's Robert Price explains.
The pandemic of 2021 is not only a more complicated challenge than the 2020 version owing to new, more virulent virus variants. It has created a new metric rarely seen outside of battlefield scenarios. No longer is the availability of ICU beds the most telling data point in our tracking repertoire. Now it's the number of COVID patients in the hospital whose families have been told they may not make it home. And it's time to start thinking about making the transition as easy and painless as possible. That's been the case for half, fully 50% of the COVID patients at Adventist Health Bakersfield. This is Daniel Wolcott, president of Adventist Health Kern County.
The vast majority of patients in our hospital who are suffering from severe symptoms of COVID are unvaccinated. In fact, we have about 100 COVID positive patients in the hospital today. And out of those 100 patients, about 50% of them have had a conversation with their doctor about potential end-of-life care. That means that the doctor believes that they may not make it out of the hospital. Almost all of those patients are unvaccinated.
The solution? You've heard it many, many times before already. Get vaccinated. In Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
Sunrise Interviews is brought to you by Valley Strong Credit Union.
All right, welcome back here at 548. The annual Piles Boys Camp Barbecue returns tomorrow. Joining us this morning, Stan Moe, who's on the board of directors for the camp, and he's served in a lot of roles through the years for this incredible camp. Stan, good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So tell people who don't know what exactly the camp's all about.
Camp is for, we take boys that are 12 to 14 years old and maybe have some difficult circumstances. A lot of them are single-parent families. Maybe no male role model in the family and things like that. Give them an opportunity to go up to camp, spend 2 weeks in the outdoors and wilderness areas and learn a little bit about themselves and about life in general. And we have a program that they can stay until they go off into adulthood, because we have a second and third year programs. They can come back when they're 16 and we'll hire them. But they have to go through, we try to teach them the job perspectives. They have to apply for the job, and then they go through an interview, and then they work their way all the way up to become even a counselor. And we have a college scholarship program that gives them an opportunity to finish their education. We even have one young man that's has his PhD now.
That's incredible. And you've affected the lives of thousands, tens of thousands
yes.
of kids through the years.
We're guessing somewhere between 28 and 30,000 boys since 1949 when the camp was founded. And the idea was to give them a positive aspect of looking at how can I get better and learn behavioral skills and become a valuable member of the community.
That's incredible. Of course, though, none of this would be possible without support. You need money. You need funds to be able to do this. So that's where the barbecue comes in.
Yes, and we enjoy it. It's fun to see the boys actually come out and help us put it on, and people get a chance to see the boys in action. But the families have a good time. We have activities, bounce houses, some other activities for the youngsters, and the adults get a fine barbecue meal for $15. Kids under 12 is free, and they have a whole afternoon of just having fun. We give away about $10,000 worth of prizes all the way up to, and the grand prize is a big screen TV.
Okay, so this is all happening tomorrow.
Yes, we start at serving about 12 o'clock, and it'll go till 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, all right, and it's happening out at the Kern River Camp, the group picnic area on Lake Ming Road. You know, that's where it's been for years and years. So if you've been before, you know what we're talking about.
Right. It's back behind the Kern River Golf Course.
Okay.
And officially it has our name on it, but it belongs to the county.
All right, so if you want to head out there, it's noon to 5 tomorrow. Stan, thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Looking ahead to next month, the 15th annual Kern County Officer Down Ride will be held October 2nd to honor fallen law enforcement officers. Online registration is open now. Pre-registration will be available October 1st from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Original Roadhouse Steaks and Barbecue on Rosedale Highway. Registration on October 2nd will take place from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. at the restaurant. For more information, just go to our website, kget.com.
A low-cost drive-through pet vaccine clinic is being offered tomorrow at Martin Luther King Jr. Park. The City of Bakersfield Animal Control says vaccines and licensing are available to dogs living within city limits. The clinic is happening from 9 a.m. till noon, but be advised, organizers say lines are subject to close before noon. For more information, visit kget.com.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.